Hello boys and girls, I didn't see you there. My name's Silly Jilly and I'm here to talk to you all about School's Tour. God, that's not really what you call yourself, is it? Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it sounded more fun. What's your name? Jilly. Oh, well that's not very creative. I'm going to call you... Jilly Billy Bear. That's it, get out of my presentation. I'm being graded on this, you know. I need good grades to get into drama school. You're never going to get into drama school looking like that off. With no jazz to your name. Oh, the beauty of editing. Now, School's Tour. We were asked to devise a performance piece designed for children aged 5 to 9. That's my favourite age range. Oh, I thought I'd got rid of you. You can never get rid of a children's television presenter. Not even an unbelievably annoying one like you. We'll see about that. So, it looks like we shall be working together on this. I don't know how it happened and I'm sorry. So, School's Tour. We had to make a piece of fuzzy, wuzzy, funny stuff to keep the boys and girls happy. We had to think about what they would find interesting, captivating, entertaining and funny all at the same time. Like crayons! I love crayons. Do you like crayons? We researched into different variations of entertainment, from funny clowns to amazing dances, unlike that, to characters they'll know from television, to obvious humour involving idiocy and slapstick. We watched last year's School's Tour and it gave us an idea of what pieces worked well, and most importantly we could see what children were more engaged with and what they found funny. The one that we found to have worked the best all round was Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Dooby-Doo! Please stop. It worked well as 99% of children have seen Scooby-Doo on TV, so they all understood the characters. They went all out on the costume to look identical to the characters and cast it so well that even the heights were almost the same. They'd clearly practiced the accents to sound the same and were so convincing that some of the children actually thought they were from Scooby-Doo and asked for their autograph afterwards. We also saw some examples of what didn't work for the kids and what styles to avoid. Our piece was about a beautiful princess called Isabella who needed to find a handsome man to marry. So she set up a magnificent ball for rich, handsome men to go on so she could find a man. The ball was to be big and wonderful and pretty and amazing and focus. Oops, I got a little bit carried away. You silly me. Sorry. But Princess Isabella had a servant named Scott, and he really loved the princess with all his heart, but he was too scared to tell her. But with some help from the boys and girls, he got the courage to tell her, and just as he was about to tell her, the prince came in and ruined it. And then... Alright, that's enough, you don't have to tell the whole story. Let's just say that a dance and a sword fight and a couple of pies to the face later, the children got to choose whether the princess married Scott or the prince. We went for the pretty princess idea because every girl loves a pretty princess. It's girly and nice. Princesses and princes are something that every boy and girl know about. When I was little, I wanted to be a pretty princess. So we went for that option over the idea of a programme like Ben 10, because if you'd never seen Ben 10, then you wouldn't understand. However, we were rather aware that a princess looking for love isn't exactly a boy's idea of ideal entertainment. So we had to add something that the boys would be interested in too. Having grown up with young boys, I know that the one thing boys love to do is fight. But fighting is not good. Fighting is bad, boys and girls. Yeah, alright. But they still love to play fight, whether it be with swords, or shooting with fake guns, or playing war with toy soldiers. Boys love violence. But if you're a good boy or girl and you don't like fighting, everyone loves silly stuff like this. Oh, you're just embarrassing yourself now. Anyway, that's what we added. We had a princess for the girly girls, a sword fight for the typical boys, and general silliness for everyone else. We then had to think about the place we were going to perform it. That, boys and girls, is called the venue. We didn't know whether it was going to be a big venue or a teeny weeny little venue. So we had to prepare our piece to be spread out, but we also had to be prepared to do it in a tiny space too. We couldn't have anything that would have to use loads of space or only use a small amount. We had to be flexible with our space. If we ended up doing it in a smaller venue, we'd have to be closer together, but make up with it with big gestures. But if we were in a bigger area, we'd have to really use up all the space, but keep those massive gestures so that they didn't look small compared to the massive staging. Not only did we have to be flexible with our own spatial awareness, we had to consider our improvisational skills, as children don't always exactly do what you want them to do. They're, let's just say, a little unpredictable. We had to adapt to all sorts of things. We had to wear costumes to change our appearance so they could see clearly who we were. Some of us had to wear makeup. For example, one of the groups had a robot in it, so she had to spray her clothing silver and cover herself in silver paint to look convincing enough to be a robot. She looked super duper cool. Ginny Billy Bear had to have a silly moustache and beard John on because she had to pretend to be a boy. I also had to wear a costume to show that I was a servant and not just a girl with her hair tied up with facial hair drawn on. Some people had to dress up in silly wigs too, like the grannies. They had to wear wigs to make them look old and wrinkly. Another adaptation that lots of groups had to consider was accents. Did their character have an accent? Some groups found it difficult to stay with their accents at first, but with practice they managed to do their accents much more easily. Our group didn't require any accents at all. We just needed to speak really, really clearly as our characters were posh. The final thing we had to adapt to was our props. As we had limited transportation space, we had to limit what we could take for props. For example, we wanted to have a full backdrop showing the scenery of the princess's bedroom, but we would have been too big. That, and we decided that the large piece of plywood was too expensive to use for only a few minutes worth of performance. So we drew our design onto a large piece of cloth and painted it. So then the cloth design was easily folded down, and we just hung it up on the evening shows for all the mummies and daddies to watch. It saved having 4 people having to bring on a big backdrop. We had to change part of our piece after the first performance because we hadn't thought a little bit through. Squirty cream melts! Who knew? So, when we prepared our cream pies at the beginning, by the time we went to use them in our piece, they'd melted and gone all liquidy. We made new cream pies just before we used them in our piece, so that melted cream didn't go everywhere. But just after one super duper quick minute, they were already slushy. So when we used the cream, it went all over the floor and the costumes as well as on our faces. So before the second performance, we quickly dashed out to get some shaving. We found that to be less sloppy and it stuck to our faces a lot more so it didn't go everywhere. It stayed in the foam form too, so it was a lot easier to clean up. Now, talking of cream pies. Now what? Oh, I'm sorry. That's not very nice. Better go clean yourself up then. That's it. Off you go. Now she's finally gone, I can re-record this by myself like I planned. We were asked to devise a piece for children aged 5 to... What?
I'll read this up. We were about to run out of tape.
Are you serious? Oh no, let me see. Oh